Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be pruning basil, and it's really simple. The concept is pretty simple when it comes to maintaining herbs. This will work for any herbs: rosemary, oregano, thyme, even stevia. If you got some stevia. Concept is pretty much the same across the board. So basically what you want to do is cut off the flower stalks. Now we have kind of neglected the basil, and it's gotten really bad when it comes to all of these flowers on the plant. But today we're going to be cutting those off. So you don't want flowers, because as soon as the plant, as soon as the basil decides to shoot up flowers, all of its energy is going to go towards making the flowers and making it, be appealing to pollinators, and not into the potency of the leaves. So once the flower shoots up, usually the leaves aren't as strong in flavor. So to make sure you have a good flavorful basil plant, you would, for the most part, make sure you're either cutting off, for the most part, you need to be cutting off the buds. At this point, it's just too much. You have let it go on too much. Now, all you have to do is just clip right below the last flower whorl. You don't have to clip all the way to the bottom. Oh, also make sure you take out bad leaves like that one. Take out the yellow leaves. Take out the leaves that you just know you're not going to eat. Throw it in your compost pile. Tear it up, throw it right there on top of the soil if you want. But there's no need for the plant to keep holding on to that. But so yeah, for the most part, you want to make sure that you're keeping on top of it early. So you're cutting out the buds, and not all is lost. So like you see here, I am bunching it up, and I'm going to dry out the flower stalks, and then boom, you've still got basil that you can still use and eat and season with. So the flowers are edible, the stems are edible. You don't even have to dry them out. You could just throw basil flowers in tomato soup, and it'll be like tomato basil flower soup. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Just making sure we're getting out all the bad leaves, the browning leaves, the yellow leaves, and making sure that we are going for those flowers. Now you can keep flowers on your plant and then let it go to seed, and basil is really good at just self-seeding itself, but just keep that in mind. You'll have a trade-off. Your leaves won't be that as flavorful as you normally would think it would be, as it normally would be without flowers. So yeah, pretty simple. am bunching up this bunch, those flowers. And I wanted to show you leaves that you could dry out, you know, and still kind of salvage. So the damage on these leaves are not disease caused. They're not caused by disease. They're caused by leafhoppers. And we wouldn't necessarily donate those, but if you're like just keeping it for yourself and you're just trying to salvage as much as possible, just take those leaves that you know have just been like gone after by bugs, and then dry them out. So yeah, but once again, it's just up to your discretion. Like if you don't want to eat those leaves, don't eat those leaves. I personally just dried them out. Well, I dried it. I just dried them out and then crushed them up, and then I had little basil flakes. That one I'm not eating. Obviously, I am not eating that one. But the other ones that I showed you earlier, I would still consume. That's just me, you know. It's all up to you. So here is an example of what a bud looks like. So it'll just be a little tiny little flower that's budded up. I don't know how to describe it. It looks like a bud. And that is the stage you want to cut it out at. At that stage, you need to just be clipping it right then and there. Do not let them get all long and showy like what you've been seeing before. And once again, those buds are edible. So yeah. So here's an example of flowers that I would not eat. At this point, they've just gone way too far in the budding stage, and they're just dry and crispy. There's probably seeds in there. For sure, there's definitely seeds in there, but we've got enough seeds. So for you can just collect seeds at that point, and then compost it. Right now, I'm just going to cut them up and compost them. And when I cut them up, I'm just going to lay them on top of the soil right there in that pot, but you can put them in a whole nother compost bin if you want. But right there, it's just too crispy. It's just way too crispy. You want there should be like some type of nutritional value. Like you should smell basil when you're eating. Like there's no flavor in there at all. So yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video.